What's going on, everyone? I'm Encore. This is Tomorrow Never Comes. And in this video, I want to discuss, can Bitcoin and crypto markets, can it recover? And in order to do that, we kind of need to see, well, where are we today in relation to where things have been in the past? Are we going to go lower? Have we hit the bottom and we're ready to move up? I kind of want to explore that, and let's see what we come up with. So I'm going to base a lot of what I'm saying today on this article from Glassnode. If you don't know what Glassnode is, it's a great platform that really analyzes on-chain metrics. Okay, so very heavy in the metric space. I'm not a very heavy metrics person in terms of, when I DCA, do I use these on-chain, metrics to make that call or not? No, I don't. But I think from an overall perspective, some very interesting charts and graphs that come on here. I'm not going to go too heavy. I'm not going to put you guys to sleep too quickly. All right. But I just want to kind of go over. So first things first is really and let's even make me even smaller here. So really, where are we in terms of the previous bear market, right? So the drawdown from the all-time high. So that's ATH is the all-time high. So currently, if we look in the past year, the last bear market we had was 2018. From its peak to where it hit a breaking point, a very valuable breaking point, was an 11-month span. Okay, but after it hit that, after it went through that support line, there was another 4 months at which we really hit a nasty spot. Okay, so pretty big bottom. So what it's saying is that there's a trigger point, okay, and once it goes beneath that threshold, we've got a pretty big drawdown from that threshold, and in 2018 that was 6,000. I think Bitcoin had gone all the way up to 20,000 around there, and around 20,000. And so once it cracked through that 6,000 range, it still drew down all the way to 3,000, just in the 3,000s. Okay, so still had quite a bit to go after that. If you look at here where we are now, the trigger or the threshold is 30,000. That's where they put it. And we spent about 14 months above 30,000. Okay, but where are we now in terms of after we went through that 30,000? We've even wicked down to maybe 17, high 17, low 18s is where we have been. And right now we're hovering around low 19,000s. But it's only been 1 month since we've cracked through the 30,000 mark. So this indicates that potentially there could be a longer period of a bear market. All right, if we went through 4 months, and now obviously that's just compared to where it was in 2018, but something good to note. All right, and really what's interesting here is that what did they say here? Right in here. So December 2017 to March 2019 was the previous bear. And it actually drew down 85% from the all-time high. Okay. So right now our drawdown is 75%. Okay. And so it's just something to keep in mind here. All right. So another big one here is, it's a very interesting, let's make myself a little bit bigger and I'll put myself, that's not going to work. Let's just go over here. Okay, so Bitcoin here, this is, the SOPR is a spent output profit ratio. That's a mouthful, okay? And trust me, I've run across this metric many times and I could never remember what SOPR meant. So basically all this means is long-term holders, what are they spending the coins in terms of, are they in a profit or are they in a loss? And if they're in a loss, how much of a loss are they in? Okay, so these are actually those long-term holders who are selling their positions for whatever reason. Okay, so anything lower than 1 is a loss. Okay, so if you see here is 0.5, 0.48, 0.8, anything below 1 is a loss. All right, so in 2015 here, the score was 0.5, so that indicates a 50% loss. And in 2018, the metric here was at a 0.48, so that indicates a 52% loss. We had a brief loss here in 2020 due to everything that happened at that point. So that was a 20% loss. So where are we sitting now? We're sitting at where long-term holders are selling, and they've realized 33% loss. Now, what can we take away from here? Well, I mean, if we were looking at 50% loss and 52% loss, but we're still only at 33% loss, not only, but in comparison, then there is still some room that things can fall even further. All right. What I actually took from this even more so was look at the amount of time. So 2014 and 15, we had 402 days where that loss was kind of realized. And then in 2018-19, you had about 328 days. Okay, so that's quite a bit of time. Now, 2020 was the outlier, 50 days, things recovered in a V shape. But look where we are now, 51 days only. Okay, so if you look at 402 days, 328 days, I mean, nobody knows when the end is. But 51 days is quite a bit of ways from 402 and 328. So again, indications that potentially we could be here for a little bit. All right. A whole bunch of other charts here that are pretty impressive, but we're not going to cover it. But here's really where I want to go. Okay. And this is the activity of small and large entities. Okay. So all you need to know is, if you're looking here, is that the blue is small entities and the red indicates large entities. All right. So basically what it's saying is that large entities are actually, really at the top, right, as well as pretty active at the bottom. So it's a pretty good indication that things are going to take a different turn. But if you look at 2018, I mean, so large entities, small entities are usually the retail traders, people like you and I, or retail investors. So 2018, that peak was all retail in here. Okay, what they're showing here is that the entities are they really pick up at the bottom. Okay, they kind of indicate that recovery, and retail is kind of a little bit lower and lags a little bit behind. But so here's really what I want to show. And so capitulation means that it's pretty much it's had enough. The market has had enough, and things kind of take a hit for the worse, and then it just gets to a point where it's reached a bottom and then wants to come up to a certain degree, right? So if you're just looking at this, and the black here is the Bitcoin price, okay, as it trends upwards, okay? So if we look here where we are now, so 2020, that was the outlier, but 2021, 2022, okay? So what they're saying is that small entities, retail investors, the activity is still high in comparison to where it used to drop out, okay? What I really took from this is look at the large entity activity. I mean, it's come up, it's come down quite a bit, but significantly we're picking up again. And so for those who are saying Bitcoin's going to die, it's going to go to zero, nobody cares about it. Again, this is just media feeding you certain things, whether it's out of ignorance or directly misleading you for a specific purpose. That remains to be seen for different entities and different media outlets. But by and large, you can see from here that the activity for large entities is not going anywhere. It might ebb and flow, but right now the mass majority of activity out there is from large entities. So it's very interesting. So we would call these guys smart money, right? Why would smart money be very active in their Bitcoin collection? Now you could probably say, well, what is this activity? Is it selling? Is it buying? Is it all that kind of stuff? Really, it's a little bit of both. And the transaction sizes may not be all that large. It's just a matter of, it's really towards the accumulation phase, which all this is kind of happening. Okay. But it's still showing you as it comes down, it's capitulating. So there's selling movement there. So it's going to show you an activity on both sides, right? And you can see we went up here and then came back down and back up again and back down. But a lot of that is being led by institutions. All right. So they have their finger on this. They have their eye on it. They're in it. You just may not hear about it. All right. And so one of the last things I want to share with you guys here, is right here. Okay, let me see if I can pull up something. Okay, so all this talk that we are in right now about being in a bear market, crypto is going to zero, it's useless, all this kind of stuff. really comes down to, well, are there any big companies out there, or companies in general, that are raising money, that are being active? And if they are raising that money, what is it for? All right, so Animoca Brands is one of the biggest, if not the biggest brand in the crypto space, and really tailor-made towards creating an open metaverse. And they have a bunch of brands, a bunch of acquisitions they've done, and they've got their hands in quite a few quality projects. But they were able to raise over 75 million. Okay, and what are they going to do with that 75 million? Is they're going to use this new capital to continue to fund strategic acquisitions, investments, and product development, and all kinds of other stuff in order to promote the open metaverse. All right, so for those, like, I don't understand what that is, and that doesn't mean anything. But this company here is raising over $75 million to further enhance an open metaverse. Okay, so while I talked about Bitcoin, and the reason why I talk about Bitcoin is, as Bitcoin moves, so does the rest of the market. All right, you'll see ETH pop off when Bitcoin pops off, and when those two start to move, the altcoins will move with it. So, but the main thing here is that what chart I've shown, whether it's been 402 days or 328 days, whatever the bear market is, Bitcoin and crypto has recovered. Now, will every project recover along with Bitcoin and ETH? No, not a chance. Okay, Animoca Brands and their projects have a much better chance, and I don't think they're going to go anywhere. Sandbox or Decentraland, the big. But when you look at things, when you zoom out and you look at the total journey that Bitcoin and crypto has gone, you're going to see that there's these massive drawdowns. Or you know people who say, well, crypto's so volatile, stay away. It is volatile, but how's the stock market doing right now? Like, I've got positions in there that are like 75, 80, 90% down. Okay, and so that's heavily regulated. Nobody cares about that people are losing their life savings in there. So do I think Bitcoin will recover? Absolutely. I think Bitcoin will go well beyond its all-time highs from before, so well over 70,000 as we progress. The use cases have gotten better, the fundamentals have gotten better, the network has gotten stronger, and that's just going to trickle down to all the other projects, ETH and everything else. Definitely going to recover going forward. So hope you guys found some value in this. I usually don't highlight these metrics and the on-chain metrics and whatnot, but it is important to note that whether the price point, wherever the price is going, is not indicative of what's happening behind the scenes, especially with the fundamentals. So keep an eye on that. All right, guys, remember, tomorrow never comes. Take action, invest in yourself today, and I'll see you in the next video.